Okay, yeah. So this time Kempo went back a little bit in the last thing that he was explaining, which we had put us here. Manjushri himself, he doesn't make a different distinction between all sentient beings who are tormented by suffering. He possesses, has the love of wanting to rescue them from suffering. And in this, what he added was, yes. So when we, the word for tormented, so to torment in Tibetan, nar, Kempo was saying it's just that to kind of to impose something forcefully or to impose the suffering, to kind of press on the suffering on them. And this time Kempo was saying that this means actually zir is to kind of to put pressure, something and pressure on someone, that is zir. But yeah, this time Kempo explained that nar actually means to force someone to, or to make someone go through difficulties for a long time. So there's this idea of duration. And yes, so I don't know if torment has this idea or not. This idea of duration, that it's a process that keeps on going to torment. I think so. Yeah. And so this is one thing that Kempo said. And yes. And then when here for this lay in Tibetan, he said that it is through that, it means through that or something like that. And so it is through having love, or through having this compassion, yes, so through having that, and mentioned he doesn't make differences. Yes, here as I put have, since he doesn't make a distinction, but through his non-distinction, maybe that's more, corresponds more to what he was saying, through not making a difference between sentient beings and tormented suffering. Yes, he possesses the level of wanting to rescue them from suffering. And then here, Kempo added that to kyop usually is translated as protect, but here Kempo understands that as being to rescue. And I think that's what we, yeah, that's what we used last time. So yeah, Kempo actually said in English, so we got the meaning right. To rescue or to put in a safe place or to protect, to be, if we want to keep things more literal. Okay. And the love of wanting. So I had put of wanting, the love of wanting. So here in Tibetan it says that what wants to rescue sentient beings from suffering is the love. So the love that wants to rescue. I think in English it's kind of more or less the same. The love that wants to rescue, the love of wanting to rescue. And yes, so this is the love, and this love is out of, Kempo was saying that out of kindness and compassion, then this is the compassion part. And what makes, when we have to define this great compassion, what we find usually in text when they talk about great compassion, this great compassion is the wish to rescue all sentient beings without distinction of the sufferings of the samsara. So this is the great compassion. And so, yes. And usually great compassion is said to be a quality of great bodhisattvas or Buddhas. Okay. Dembitures. Yes, and so because he possessed of wanting to rescue sentient beings, so the Dembitures and yes, and so here the last word of the sentence Tibetan is Dembitcher. So chir is because of. So, and then to explain this because of, Campbell said that is Manjushri directly perceives directly perceives the suffering of sentient beings, and because of that, he develops the wish to rescue them. And he naturally develops the wish to rescue them from this suffering. And so it is in this way that this praise to the qualities of love of Manjushri. And so until here, we have covered that part. So until here we have, yes, until this part of the text, we have covered the praise for the quality of loving. So we had first knowing, then now loving. This is finished. And now the second part, a second praise, second object of praise now will be second part. So let's see. What was that up here? So there was this praise to the mind of Manjushri, then to the speech, yes. Okay, so this is where we have reached. Not yet. Okay. And so Campbell was saying that this is this 4.1.4.1.v is, so the second part is the praise to the song, so to the speech of Manjushri. Okay, so should be so 전번대 끝내 정대 이기 지들 예비 좋아 탐지 급이 채도 넓기네 그 설월 땡비송 니랑 야나 부주 성의 양등 땡비 송어스 long sentence. Okay. Let's see if I can make it cut shorter. Okay. And this great love as it was explained this. So here te means it will be the subject. Kunne this. Kunne the nikichidar sing. I'll copy this up there also. Otherwise it doesn't really make sense. Okay. Kunne the nikichidar sections. Yes. Just as you perceive, see, you perceive, see, starting from this great love as it was explained. Doesn't really make sense. Let me try to. Maybe I think I will be forced to make one big sentence as a whole. Cannot really cut them. Gopang chol gobi chedos. Yes. In order to establish all sentient beings, all beings to the supreme level. Yes. Supreme that. Supreme that you have started that you have to the supreme level. Yeah. Let's put realized. Seen that you have realized, seen. In just like it was explained above. Yes. And that you have obtained, I noticed there was some supplement that you have realized, just like it was explained, and that you have obtained. Yes. Realized through the great love. Like it was explained above, that you have obtained. Even just one of your speech, on your, how can we say this, a kind of utterances? Yeah, utterances, even just one of your utterances. Process. Gopan çok çünkü bir çeşit landır ki ne zaten bir su içine yaz. Even just a single of your utterances that shows what should be adopted and abandoned. Clearly shows everything that should be adopted and abandoned. Is speech utterance I think voice that possesses the 60 melodies. Melodies Brahma. Yeah, so let me just check once again to see if everything is fine. So I think if we put the sentence in the right order, your speech even a single utterance of your speech yeah. Clean shows everything should be done. Speech that clearly shows everything should be adopted and abandoned. Possess the system of Brahma. Yes, so should speech possessing the 16 melodies of Brahma abandoned. Not to the super of the Jefferson project life before. Okay, yeah, that looks okay. So even a single utterance of your speech, and here, so I'm going to go through the Campbell's commentaries in the order of the English. So here, a single utterance of your speech. Here, a speech Campbell is saying that speech sung should not be taken as a verb, but as a noun. And so in short, what this praise is saying is that your speech does not, your speech is not meaningless. It's not that it's just kind of talks about meaning, but it shows everything that should be adopted and abandoned. And it does so by, while doing so, it has the 60 characteristics or melodies, the 60-fold melody of Brahma. And this is not coming from nowhere neither. It comes from the great compassion that we have seen before. Okay. And so about the 60 melodies of Brahma. Let's see if there's something about single utterance. Yes. So what a single utterance means that even if Manjushri only says one thing, like one sentence, or he just says something to convey one idea, one meaning, one act of communication, it will be able to, so even just one act of communication from Manjushri has the ability to show clearly all what has to be abandoned and what has to be adopted. And this single act of communication also has all the 60 melodies of Brahma. Okay, single utterance of the speech, possessing the 60 melodies. And so here, in what is written is Tsangwa. And Campbell was saying it's another way of writing Tsangpa, and Tsangpa is Brahma. And so there's also another Tsangpa, which is one of the 1002 Buddhas of this Kalpa. So his name Tathagata Brahma or Tsangpa. But we're not talking about this one here. We're talking about the Brahma that is usually kind of in the Indian culture. Brahma is this god who is said to be one of the main gods in the in India. And so Brahma himself is known to be the god who has a very sweet voice, who talks in a perfect way, and that whose sound on the voice is very melodious, etc. And so Campbell was saying that, generally speaking, out of the goddesses in India, Sarasvati was known to be the one with all the qualities of the voice, and out of the male gods, then it is Brahma who is known to have those qualities. And since this habit of, or this way of considering that Brahma was the one possessing all the qualities of the voice, then this cultural element went into Buddhist, was taken or was used by Buddhists, and that's why here we find it in this praise. And so in short, the 60 elements of Brahma refer to a voice that has no defect whatsoever of a voice, and that possesses all the qualities of a voice that we can ever imagine. And here so about the 60, the number itself. So here, a voice that passes the 60 melodies. So Campbell was saying that in the root praise, in the root text, there's no mention of Tsangpa. Tsangpa is not in bold here. But it's only made reference to the 60 melodies. So your voice has the 60-fold melodies. And so it is to show that the voice of Manjushri is like the one of Brahma. And about the number of these melodies, of number of qualities that one voice can have, in some texts it is said to be 60, in some other 64. And Tujing Gyatso is one text, which is the ocean of the ocean of clouds of praises. It is a text in which Kempo found verses that's kind of mnemotechnic verses for each of the 60 ones. So it's kind of, there's a few verses that you can learn by heart because they're in verse, so it's kind of convenient. And then you can remember all the 60 of them. And then elsewhere, like in this sutra, which presents the unfathomable qualities of the secret of the Tathagatas, of the Buddhas. And so in this sutra, it is the 64 are enumerated instead of the 60, but it seems like most of the texts considered to be more accurate to talk about 60 rather than 64 melodies. And out of them, a few, Campbell said the whole list, but he said it in verse, so I could not note everything. But out of them, a few that he afterwards repeated was that the voice is very agreeable. It gives it makes it so that the person wants to listen to it, and there is nothing that is unpleasant or rough in the voice, etc. So this kind of, and then after that does not repeat itself, and that presents things in a beautiful way, etc. So it's not only the voice, physical voice itself, but also some elements about the elocution, I guess, or the way that things are expressed. So out of the 60. Okay, so that was found 60 melodies of Brahma. And that clearly shows everything that should be adopted and abandoned. And so, yes, here. Lang is to adopt. So it is what you should accomplish, what you should be doing. And in Tibetan, you use this tur. So towards oneself with tur drugaya. So it is on towards oneself. This should be applied and accomplished. And pa pangoya, and the other is to abandon. And so you abandon in direction outside, in the direction of from you outwards. So yes. So what should be abandoned and what should be avoided. And here this, what I translate as what should be avoided and translated. In Tibetan, it's ne. Ne means a place, or like Kempo was saying, an object of an action or an item. And he gave as example the ne that should be adopted are, for example, the 10 virtuous action, kewachu, and the ne of what should be discarded is the 10 non-virtuous actions. So, yes. So shows everything. So here, kun is all the objects of what should be all the objects of adopting and discarding, or yes, abandoning. That's literal translation. And the way I rendered it was everything that should be adopted and abandoned. Okay. And so Campbell was saying that even one utterance of Manjushri, it's not only that he shows this utterance is able to show what this needs to be abandoned and adopted, but on top of that, it does it in a very clear way. It's not just more or less showing what should be adopted and rejected, but it does it in a very clear. It makes it very clear for the listener how things should go. Okay. Should be abandoned in order to establish all beings to the supreme level. Yes. And so in order to establish, here it's Goba. And so it is to put someone in a place or to settle someone somewhere, like Kimber was saying in English, and to put somewhere. And Kimber was saying that it must be the future tense, because all sentient beings have not yet been put on the level of supreme level. So Ge, I don't know exactly what time, but it looks to me to be the present. I don't know if it's the same for all 3 times or not. But it should be understood as the future. And then in order to establish all beings to the supreme level. Okay, so here a supreme level, yes, all sentient beings, then Campbell didn't comment anything, but on the supreme, saying that usually when we talk about the levels or the resultant levels in the context of the great vehicle, you have 2 of them. The first one is liberation, and the second one is omniscience. And out of these 2, we are taking the one that is supreme. So the supreme level refers to omniscience or Buddhahood. And comparing to those, the one from the Arhats are not a supreme level. Okay. Supreme level that you have realized, seen through the great love, like it was explained above. And so here, Campbell, I'm going to go in the order of the Tibetan. So like it was said above, is Jike is in the same way, and then She is to explain. Shema Taubas. So this should be no. Shema Taubas. Yes. So above we were describing the qualities of love of Manjushri, of the great love of Manjushri. So what did I put the great love? Yes. Okay. You have you have realized through the great love. And so this great love is an agent. It's a subject of something. And what this great love does is to start an action, to initiate something. Here, this. So yes, and so this great love is put as the subject of something, and the action that it does is to initiate. And so it will initiate a process. And the example that Kempo gave for this is, for example, Ma Jangba. So it's like to start a battle, Ma Jangba. Jen usually is to bring someone somewhere or to guide, but here Kempo understands that as being to initiate a process. Yes, and so this great love will start the process, and yes, and then the continuation of it will be so the T here shows that there's another action that goes on, which is to perceive, to see. So you yourself, Manjushri, in the same way, Chitar, that you have seen things, in the same way that your great love made you, made you see things or realize things. So that's that you have realized, seen through the great love. Yes, so I have lost this idea of starting. Yes, so through the great love. So the great love does something, and then you realize. Was I able to render that meaning like that, or do you think it's just one action?
I was just about to ask you, just in the what you have realized, what is the realized referring to of the things above?
Yes. So okay, yeah, let's go to it. So here, here is the honorific of tong. Tong, I see. Yes, tong. And it is seeing. What is the object of this seeing? It is the nature of all phenomena. So it is, in other words, it is the non-existence, or the intrinsic, the non-existence of all phenomena, or in other words, emptiness, or just like it is said in all the great vehicle, and the fact that all phenomena are have the nature of enlightenment. Thank you, Beranchi. Have the nature of enlightenment. And so this see or realize is the fact to see phenomena as they really are, as enlightened phenomena, not just as samsara. Which is why I put realize, because just gave me this impression that it was too little.
Okay, and in this sentence, so would that be what's just implied, or would it be just before that to where it says the supreme level? Just because it's referred to that, but then where in the sentence is it pointing to, or is it just implied?
Yes, that you have in order to the supreme, that you have realized. So yes, there's one verb that I missed. So okay, through the great love and obtained. Like it was explained above. Yes. Maybe this, like it was explained above, could be into I don't know exactly how to do this in English, but something like that. I don't know if I think I should.
Yeah, that's good. That does work.
Yes. You have realized.
You can join the two verbs, no?
Yes. So if I do that, I will. The subject is the great love. So I hope that your.
No, but you have realized, you attained and realized.
Yes. But let's try to be more literal, since it's possible. The Tibetan puts on the great love as the subject, so let's try to do that. That your great love made you realize, see, and obtain. Okay.
Okay, but then, so then here, it's still that what you realized through your great love is referring to the supreme level and not to the 16 melodies of Brahma, right? Because just in
right. Yes.
In the reading, it could go either way, right? When you read it, because it's talking about the melodies.
Yes, right.
You don't need that over there. The second line, you don't need that.
Oh, I thought there was you were talking about that.
Even the single utterance of your speech processing the 16
clearly shows everything that should be adopted in the bandhan.
No, I think that is fine. It could be which, but I think that's fine.
Or we can.
I mean, for the English, you don't need that because.
No, actually, it's awkward.
Because if not, even a single successive that clearly shows
what should be.
No, I mean
everything. Yeah, I cannot everything. If I have everything, I need to keep this that. Even a single of your speech that possesses the 60 more clearly shows everything that should be adopted and amended in order to the supreme level, which your great love made you realize and obtain. Maybe it's also your speech that possesses the. Yeah. How is it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in Spanish, I'll try to do something with the punctuation just to make sure that the realize is referring to the supreme level. But
yes, yes, and actually now what makes sure that we are talking about supreme level is which.
Changing which, yeah.
Yeah. To the supreme level, which your great love made you realize and obtain. Yeah. Okay. I hope next sentence won't be so difficult. Here is how is function. Yes. So we again, how is it function? Here it is. Here it is. And so here again, Campbell said that, so this its function, we are talking about the melody of Manjushri's speech. So the speech of Manjushri. And here again, so here it is another way of saying, here's how I can explain it, like we have seen before already. That's fine. Perna. Okay, yin. So. Troki. 放着，新度。秋着景。Dread the thinking, just to make sure that I'm not thinking she Nile Sever Cheba Tars. Yeah. You can make a break. Okay. So, for example, and just like in the yin, how does the dictionary translate it? So yeah, let's first, I'll give you the explanation of Kempo, then we can look at dictionary together. So here, this yin, we have a few words that look like this. So it's yin, long, and both of them refer to everything in the space. So it's, in some way of saying, if you say the yin of the space, it means everywhere where there is space. Every single kind of location of the space as a whole. And so Campbell was saying that we should have in our mind the understanding that it covers everything that space is, both in terms of how large it is, in how depth, how deep it is, and how high it is. So in all dimensions. And it is, by opposition, it is not, when you talk about Namke Yin, so the yin of the sky, of the space, it is not just the what you see in front, like the size of something. Like if you have a house, you just see what is in front of you. You don't see the whole of it, what is behind. And so it's not just the one wall of, or one face or one side of the space, but all of it. And it's neither one side, just like left side, right side, etc. And so Campbell was saying that yin has this understanding, or has this connotation of depth to it. And so this is what we should understand, that it kind of enters in all dimensions of whatever space is and wherever space is. And so yin refers to something that's, covers everything in everything where there is some space in terms of depth or width or height, etc. And like you see here, Campbell said sky, because in Tibetan sky and space are the same. He doesn't make this distinction. He doesn't have the idea that sky is actually what is around the earth, and that prevents meteors or small, I don't know, outer particles to come in, etc. It doesn't have in Tibetan it's the same thing. So yes. Now let's see a dictionary. So sphere expands, element, space, basic element, dimension, sphere, basic space, totality, field, continuum, reality, field expands. Yeah, I don't know what should be, what would correspond more to the Campbell's explanation. A realm, you kind of lose some things. Maybe expanse, I don't know. Let's see what the dictionary says. A wide continuous area of something. Great extent of something spread out. Breadth, distance, expansion. Yeah. Maybe spreading out can be in all directions. So maybe we have the depth that's included. What do you think? Okay. Just like in the expanse of the space. Nanke yin su zhug shang zha, xin du qiu zhuang xing. And sound of the dragon resounds extremely strongly, and and it wakes up and this sound wakes up other beings from their sleep. Okay. So perna, yes, just like in spoken Tibetan, doesn't change. For example, okay, yin, we have just seen what yin is. Rangzha, Drugi Rangzha, Ranyigitas, yes, and so his Rangzha is just the sound, and Rangzha is the sound of himself. Sound of Rangzha, Drugi Rangzha. His, we could say, the specific sound or specific sound of the dragon resounds to drawings. Yes. And so Campbell saying it's like interesting because Campbell is saying that when you reach this ching here, then it means that what we have seen before is a complete sentence. He says it's a sentence, sentence. So one sentence is finished. And so Campbell sees this ching as the equivalence that he can find in English grammar is a conjunction. And so I rendered it as and, put a comma and an and. This sound jade, this sound, yes, yes. So other beings, and yeah, Campbell was saying that when it is, the sound is so loud and so strong, extremely, yeah, strongly or loudly, then anyone, any being will wake up at the sound, except, like Campbell was saying, if it is deaf beings. Deaf, I don't know how to say. Yeah. Okay. Yes, we have already gone 10 minutes too much. Nice pause. Okay, see you in 10 minutes.
See you guys in 10.
So nar maybe keepers deten ki sunki chungo yitu shidong tulje nawar lekbar chechers Rober CP broken Yamompa ni Tobole Longshins. Okay. So the thing is some keys. So here we have the mark of the subject. So like we have said before, kebar specificities or characteristics, qualities, like Campbell says, some keys. Has the qualities said before, and the thing is sunki chubo gentry she don't genawar which is what say this you resound greatly resound the 84,000 Dharma doors to the ears of those to be subdued because of this you need to put the launchings wake them from the deep sleep of you wake all beings, not them broken. The sleep of the negative emotions. Okay. So yeah, so here I put into two sentences, but actually it's just one. With the speech that passes the qualities and greatly resolve. And through this, I can put and through this. And through this, and because of this, you will convince from deep state of negative emotions. Okay. So now let's go to the commentary with a speech that possesses that with a speech that has the qualities that were said before. Yes, what we have just seen before. And then the qualities or the characteristics, maybe characteristics is better than qualities. Qualities would have been yönten. It has the characteristics that and yes, and so these characteristics are the 60 melodies of Brahma. And these characteristics are also the fact that each utterance shows what should be abandoned and what should be adopted. So all the things that we have said before to define how is Manjushri's speech, then this is here the characteristics that we're talking about. And so with a speech that has those characteristics, yes, you greatly resound. Yes, and so here, because we have that Kemba was saying that this song is going to do something. So the speech of that has those qualities or characteristics is going to do something. And what it does is to resound the 84,000 doors of Dharma. And so here, the doors of Dharma is actually a synonym, or it's just another metaphor to refer to the same 84,000 sections of the teachings. Sections or heaps. Yeah, usually it's chöpung, getrijitong, pung from heaps, and which can be translated as sections, because what is being divided is a teaching. So when you divide the text, then you end up with sections, which is why, even though it's heap, it's usually translated as sections. And so this 84,000, yes, and the reason for here it is called the door is because either because it allows you to go towards in the direction, or it allows you to start the journey or to go on the path that leads you to enlightenment. So this is why it's a door, or we can say that it's a door because it allows you to go out from the three realms, to be freed from the three realms, and so because of that, then it's like a door. And so this is the metaphor for this 84,000. And generally speaking, about the number 84,000, like Kempo was saying, there are 84,000 negative emotions, and for each of them, then there is one section or one door of the Dharma that corresponds and has been taught by the Buddha. And so according to what is called either a door of Dharma or a section of the Dharma is defined into different ways according to the Abhidharma of the Mahayana and the Abhidharma of the Hinayana. And so according to the Abhidharma of the Mahayana, which is Abhidharma Samuchaya, which was written by Asanga, so according to the Great Vehicle, number kundu here. Then it is said that every here a door or a section of the Dharma is something like a chapter, and a chapter has about 1,000 words, or 1,000 words, and so the kind of putting together 1,000 words makes a section of the teachings. And so this is the way that the Great Vehicles Abhidharma explains it. Now, according to the treasury of Abhidharma, which was written by Vasubandhu, according to the lower Abhidharma, the one from the Hinayana, then one section or one heap of Dharma is how much you can write with the ink load, that can be the ink load here, and that one elephant can carry. And so Kimber was saying, not the paper, not the words either, but just counting the ink that you're going to use to write. And so, yes, and so how much you can write with one load of ink on the back of an elephant is one heap of one dharma heap of one door of dharma. Then something that I remember, because I have been searching for how they created Pustak and how they kind of made it on the palm leaves. And actually they use a lot of ink, much more than we would use nowadays. Because the way they did it is that they kind of prepared this palm leaf, and then with an iron, something in iron, they kind of scratch the surface of the palm leaf that is very hard. And then they apply ink all over the palm leaf. And then so ink goes everywhere. And when they clean it up, the only place where that is kind of scratched is where the black ink will stay. And that's how they kind of made these books. So I think that in this way, then maybe you'll have much less text that you can write because you're using much more ink. But anyhow, it's still quite a lot. Okay. So and so according to Kimber was saying that according to the lower Abhidharma, then you do not count into items of dharma, but you count in terms of how much you are able to write. So it's not like one unit of teaching. Okay, and and then there's this very nice word, dulja. Like greatly resound 84,000 dharma dons. Okay, to the ears of those to be helmed. To the ears. Yes, Kemba didn't say anything. And about greatly resound. Okay, here greatly means because usually we are speaking about sound, and so here it doesn't mean that Manjushri is shouting very loud and kind of hurting the ears of people and shouting so much that people cannot hear anymore. So it's not what that means here, but it means that it is whatever he says it without anything that is missing, incomplete, and the sound is loud, but it's not disagreeable, and the sound can be, and the voice can be heard very clearly, very distinctly, and in such a way that anyone can hear and can understand what is being said without any doubt and without a problem of the sound not being clear enough to be understood. And so Kembo added that this was the case whether the people who are listening to Manjushri are far or they are close, they will hear in such a way that everything is perfectly clear to their ears. And so yes, and then yes, it should not be as if we're going to damage the ears of, the Manjushri is going to damage the ears of those who are listening to him. So it's not only the intensity of the sound itself that is being referred to by greatly resounding, greatly resound. Okay. Yes, and they, like Kembo was saying, they here is just the honorific of J, to do. And okay, to the ears of those to be held or subdued. And so this is Dulja, literally it is what I have put. And Kembo said those two words, devotee and disciples. And devotee is something that we hear in Asia about the people who go in temples, or the devotees, or the students of such and such master, etc. So it's kind of more common there, I guess. I don't know if over here a devotee is something that we can use or we usually use. But the literal meaning is dul ja. So those ja is the future, and dul is to subdue. So those who are to be subdued. And so maybe to those to be helped. Yeah, those to be helped is another formula that kind of tries to not go too far from the original and yet not have the negative connotation of subdue. I think that's in part because of in the context of Tibetan Buddhism, when you have all these demons, etc., that you need to subdue, then it becomes an action that is very strongly connotated. Whereas in the context of general Mahayana, then to subdue is just to kind of, to master one's mind is to subdue the mind, is the same word. So, yes. I don't know what will be your choice, but whatever. You can put also.
When you put disciple or devotee there, that's what Kempo proposed?
Yes, that's what he said. But like he said before also, his English is not so good. So he's he just said the first words that come out to his mind that may have more than the same meaning. But then he told me that I should go and make I should think for myself whether it is the right word in this context or not. But it gives the general idea. But whenever I write in the commentary, I write English letters, English words. That's the Campbell's words themselves. Taking notes in English.
Drupchen, for Dulwa, Dulcha, could we use those to be tamed instead of subdued?
Yes. It's
maybe
the same. Yes.
Less strong, yeah.
Yeah. It's true. Okay. Tamed. I don't know what tame means actually.
Domar,
como los caballos salvajes.
Reduced from a state of genetic wildness, especially so as to be tractable and useful to humans. Made docile and submissive. Okay. To reduce from a wild to a domestic state, subject to cultivation, to bring under control. Okay, yeah, looks like it.
Was this text that I had before the followers? It's another word, right? It's not devotees. Remember?
Yes. Let me. Oh no, I don't.
Was it here or was it? It is not.
No, it's not here.
It was in the other.
Yes. Followers. I don't think it was.
In the Dilgo piece, no. I don't
remember. Yes, I don't think it was Dilja.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go and check. Where is that now?
No, that's okay. I mean, we don't have to.
Okay.
We didn't have to. Just was thinking.
Yeah. Yes, and then devotees. Okay, you wake all beings from and through this, because of this, Ching. Yes, so it's like so or therefore, like the Kempo said. And through this, because of this, yes, you wake up or you wake all beings. You wake up all beings. Okay, so all beings are from the deep sleep of negative emotions. Ken was saying that yes, first deep sleep. This in Tibetan you do not say that a sleep is deep, but it is thick. Ni tukbo, and it's actually the same thing for spoken Tibetan. Ni tukbo kus. But Campbell was saying yes. So deep for in Tibetan, deep doesn't work, but in English it's good. And then thick in English doesn't work, but for Tibetan it's good. It's kind of, that's the way he put it. And yeah, the sleep of the negative emotions. Here, the negative emotions we are talking about are, generally speaking, the root and secondary negative emotions, the 6 root negative emotions and the 20 secondary emotions. But generally speaking, we can say that it's all the emotions that have as their kind of origin the 3 poisons, and all of those that are kind of developed from these, either of these 3 or more than one of these 3. Okay. And then long is to wake up. There's no problem about that. And the ability to wake up, yes, it is not because the sound is loud enough so that people wake up, but here it is more that again, Campbell kind of turned away from the physical explanation of the sound and said that here, if the Manjushri speech wakes up beings, it is because of the power of his voice, rather than the strength, rather than the volume of his voice. So it is because Manjushri's speech is powerful, has this ability to wake people up from the negative emotions, that this happens. Okay, so this is as far as I have reached. So is there anything that you would still need to ask, or that we need to go into more detail? Anything to answer to Campbell?
Not for now. Maybe once I go into it again to the second version.
Okay. Okay, so then I'll still be here in case you have questions, and in the meanwhile I will be listening again to Campbell.
Okay.
Okay, now the next pose. So I have still a few minutes to finish taking notes of what Campbell said, and then after we can see if we have more time to go until the point where he left it. Okay, I'm done. What should we do? Because it looks like we don't have enough time to go through everything. Like we still have one page or more. Yes, about one page to see.
I don't know if anybody else has some questions, but I had one or two that I
Okay.
could ask right now. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
So the first one is in the where you have even a single utterance of your speech.
Yes.
Would it be all right? Because what I got from the meaning was that the biggest thing about the possessing the 60 melodies is that is even a single phrase or utterance possesses those quality, right? So
yes.
would it just sound better if we take that like from your speech if it's okay to remove that? So even a single utterance of your speech possesses the 60 melodies of Brahma and clearly shows everything that should be adopted and abandoned. I'm not sure if that still is aligned with the Tibetan.
Yeah, let me read it once again.
So we can.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it works.
Yeah, I think it just makes both ideas a little bit clearer. And then I would add the 60 melodies of Brahma and clearly shows everything.
Yeah, I think it's like since it ends by Yanatan Tempe Sungo, it finishes with Sung, which is your voice, your speech. It's like saying, here is the qualities of your speech, 2 points, and then we have everything. What about, since we are in literal here, let's try to do something like that.
Okay. For the second one, would you be okay with that and like having both of them like that? For the second version. For the second version.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then here, if it's just completely literal, I would put 2 points. Even a single utterance of your speech, 2 points. Possesses the melodies of the 60 melodies of Brahma and clearly shows everything.
Is as follows. A single reference. Yes.
I see.
Yeah, that makes it more clear that we are actually describing Manjushri's speech, not focusing on one utterance, which was not clear before.
Okay.
This is better, corresponds better to Tibetan. Then there's something about the 60 melodies also. Actually, in Tibetan is Yanla Drushu. What is in the text itself is Yanla Drushu. Yanla is like members, parts, and so it should be the 60 parts of the melodious voice of Brahma. It's like what Kimball gave us as example, the fact that it's we can nowadays, if we had to describe the voice of a great singer, would say that it's, I don't know, it's deep or it's harmonious. Then on top of that, it has the kind of, yeah, he is able to modulate a lot, and it has all these modulations and this and that. And so it's these things that we are talking about, 60 parts. So it's not that it's like, it's not 60 different melodies. It's 60 parts of 60 constituents maybe could be better. Or qualities, or you name it.
Okay, and now that it's even clearer that it's talking about the speech, I just want to make sure that what Manjushri's great love made him realize and obtain was the supreme level and not that speech.
Yeah, no, it's the supreme level. Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And then above that, well, somewhat above that, where it's talking about the 3 doors completely wrapped in the dense darkness of ignorance. I think it's a few pages above that.
Okay. Yes, here.
My question is just before it says and then the next one it says within it there are 3 doors. So I'm not sure how that flows.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so they have entered in the jail of samsara, and then within it, within the samsara.
Cool.
Actually, this should be as a note. Oh, let's put it that way. Samsara. Yeah, because in Tibetan, when you go right up here, it's narme barki korwe tsunra chujing. So you have korwe tsunra, so the jail of the samsara. They have been put in it, and then within it, they nang doang. Then it goes on. So there's, yeah. But because of the way that I have translated it, made it ambiguous. Yeah, something got lost in translation.
Okay, and then my last question is a little above that, where it says possessing the knowing.
Yes.
This you couldn't put as possesses the knowledge, right? It's the knowing.
The knowing, the knowledge, yeah. Both would be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But since Kempa has still this kind of, yeah, it is obvious that we're talking about the verb is behind. It's like in English, when you have knowledge, you forget the idea that it was a verb at some point.
No, I see.
But in Tibetan, it's very much obvious. Because you take the verb to add something behind it, and that's the only thing you do. So it's kind of really obvious that there's the verb behind. Up to the point where you can starting making like, this games with words kind of.
Oh, I think I know what you mean. Okay.
Yes, yeah. You can play around with whether it's a verb or a noun and kind of put it together and split it, etc. Because it's very much obvious and open.
In the sentence below that one, you have talked the other day, but then I didn't get it all, and then I didn't hear the tape again. So the 2 interpretations. So the sentence starts by, or the part of the sentence that is after of the 2 of the choice you will make of the interpretation you will take starts where. So all sentient beings who are and have entered in the jail. So the part that is common to both interpretations, it starts where. So it's have entered in the jail.
No, so you see here this
the parentheses. Yeah.
Yes, this is the first interpretation. So if I read the first interpretation, it would be unconditionally all sentient beings who are
who have entered
in the jail of
okay. Yes. Unconditional, all the sentient beings who have entered, and then the second interpretation starts
all the sentient beings who are unstable.
Who are okay. Thanks.
Okay. So yeah, today we started here. Do you think you will be able to find which part in the Tibetan has to be bolded?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, by using the dictionary probably, but just like that, probably only Narayana.
Okay. Yeah, the songs. Okay. Someone wants to try? Someone else? Or should I do it? Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, you can do in your text, right? Yeah. Or in the here in English, I don't know, as you want. Have you finished reworking, or you still have many things to do?
I'm still reworking a few things, especially what we just talked about now and a few other things.
I also have. I didn't finish either.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so here Doctor, for example, dragon. Okay. Oh. Very nice. Yeah. So here I'm looking at the, for example, just like the expense of the space, the specific sound of the dragon resounds. Actually, I was thinking about the space here could be the sky, because we're not talking about the space. It's just an animal who is in the sky and makes sounds. So it could be the sky as well. But the one
the other day, this term that you were referring to, Qing, right? Because
no, yeah, yin.
Yin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was because the other day we were you were explaining, and because I had come across the Datu, remember?
Yes. Yeah.
That's why we went to this term, because I had seen a dictionary or Ripa where they refer to this, but then we saw that Datu was not the same as
it was
the Datu was the Pung Mo, right?
Come.
No, sorry. The
Come.
dhatu was come, and it had nothing to do with this chim, which
Yin.
actually yin.
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 Yin. There's no
No
J.
yin. There's no.
Yin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's. So we.
Yes.
It's the
Yeah.
sphere of reality, actually, or space, or.
Yeah. Sphere. I don't think it really goes together in this context. But here it's not. It's like when you say sphere of reality, etc. Then it's kind of a very specific context. Here we're just talking about the how deep and how vast the space is. Yeah, there's no philosophical ideas behind at all.
Then space. It seems that it was the.
Yeah, space is
of the space. Yeah.
No, space of the space. No, then it doesn't work. And the Kempo explained it was not that. It was how deep it was. It is like taking everything that is within the space, taking all the dimensions.
In the vastness of the space.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Yes, vastness. Yeah, but here I prefer not vastness because vastness has already a word in Tibetan which is yang.
But why expanse is also in English? It's the extension, right?
Yes.
So
it's like the universe that is expanding in.
Expanse,
yeah, expanse.
Expanse of the space.
The extent
but it also gives the idea of vastness.
Of vastness, yes, there's this idea of vastness, that's right. Yeah, but then vastness alone would be Gyechewa in Tibetan. You have already another word for that. It's like when you usually talk about the profound and vast approaches, then you have Zapo and Gyechewa.
So you would like to change this expanse?
Okay. No. I mean, for me, it's fine like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But here, for example, it's perna, for example, and here tar is like something, so it would be chebatar, just like or like. Yeah, just like would be bold, for example, would not be. Okay, so doctor, and then we have cherto. Oh, where's the translation? Ah, yes, of that, no? Ah, yes, okay. Cherto. Chair here is greatly free sound, okay. Cherto, nyamo, ni. Deep is not. It's tubo. Long, yeah. Besides that's everything, okay. Ah, yes, then we didn't go through that part. Great. And then here, Yana Mruju Yangden Song speech. So 60%. Yes, exactly. Great. And I guess in the improved version, this could be left out as well. This sound.
Hey, Drupchen, I still have some doubts regarding when the interpretation 1 and 2, not on which one to pick, but on regardless of whichever one you pick, there is this end here that's throwing me off as to where it goes. For example, because it says, for example, the interpretation 1, it would say, unconditionally, all sentient beings who have entered in the jail of samsara from the top of the existence until the unbearable hells, and then it's kind of like it's missing something, or that end would have to go, and it's just I'm not sure how to follow the logic on it.
Okay.
On like the sentence structure.
All sentient beings who entered in the samsara, from and within it.
And then within do you know what I'm?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's the idea here is so it's in order to put two actions into relation, to say that they were put into this jail. So this is the first action.
Mm-hmm.
And the second action is that the three doors are completely wrapped. So first sentient beings are thrown into the jail of the samsara, and then in this jail, then their three doors are wrapped by the darkness of ignorance.
Okay, so could it be something like all these sentient beings have entered the jail of samsara? Like if we take off,
with this part, yes, okay.
This end, it would be all sentient beings, regardless of the two interpretations, right? All sentient beings who have entered in the jail of samsara from the top of existence to the unbearable hells. And then within it.
Okay.
Now I'm.
And whose are completely wrapped in the dense darkness of ignorance inside this jail.
And then within it, there.
Yeah, so actually, if for the first action we have put who, then we have to put the second who for the second action as well.
Unstable, and then
within it.
And then whose three doors are completely wrapped, but then it removes the within it, right?
Yeah.
And within it.
And within it, who's
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah. Have entered the jail of samsara from total existence into the warehouse, and within it.
Mind.
You could have even left it within it, and their three doors are completely.
If we don't put the end, it's okay. If we just put comma without end, it's just another sentence explaining that within it is just something else that is being explained, right? Within it, the three doors.
Yeah.
Can
right?
We don't need them.
This one we need. This one because it's together. Yes.
Oh,
why would you say?
Yeah, the first one you need because this is in this interpretation they are unstable and they have entered in the jail of samsara.
But in the present, but going back to this one, would it say like they are unstable? The ones who are unstable have entered the jail of samsara. You could also say that all sentient beings who are unstable have entered the jail of samsara, and within it, their three doors are completely. That's how it makes the most sense to me. Because if not, it's like all sentient beings who are unstable and have entered the jail of samsara, and within it.
Yeah. 변화되던 드라이브스 인지한 강도 시비즈는 남의 correlations choosings oxygen beings who are unstable have entered. Yeah, okay, yeah. Can take it out.
Okay. And the one, okay, now it makes a lot of sense to me. With this within it as well. Great.
Changes on some sort from tolerance and then here I can also add, to make things clearer, either from somewhere in between. No, from her into some sort from the 이제는 바르기 corrector choosings. Yeah, okay. Can keep it like that. Yes. Okay. So time is up now. So we continue.